Welcome back then. Let's get into this market picture. So it has been a little bit mixed this morning, particularly out in Asia. A bit of worries around the US stimulus plan and whether that will come to the fore and what exactly that will mean then for the markets overall and whether we'll actually see some sort of gain across most of the market picture. Only the Shanghai Composite and the Nikkei managing to tick a little bit higher by close of trade today, but the Hang Seng unfortunately stuttering along, 1/3% weaker, in fact, getting down there. It's nearly 100 points, in fact, by the close of this trading picture. A little bit of a catch-up as well out of Australia and India, with those two markets perhaps seeing some negativity. And again, like I said, a catch-up from the holiday that they had. Also, getting a sense then from China's industrial companies, those profits managing to rise up again. And that's a good sign then that things are beginning to pick up in the world number 2 economy. Well, what does that mean for the European market? Unfortunately, not too much in terms of gains then. We're seeing negativity across the board for the major markets out in Europe. Even the DAX going down the most, 1% for 138 index points. Also negativity across the most of the board here. This sense of red has followed us, unfortunately, as well. 1/3%, rather 2, or should I say 3/4% weaker is the JSE All Share today, below 64,000 points. At 63,436. Lack of consistency, I suppose, that present for the market picture, so not real impetus to push the markets ahead. The banking counters or financials are the ones that seem to be going up around 1.3% for both banks and financials today. Financials being pushed up by banks, of course, while negative for the rest of the market, really. A big 2.5% fall for the resource shares there. That's pushed along by gold and platinum miners getting a heavy fall. Platinum stocks the biggest faller today, more than 4% loss there, in fact, while only a slight loss for the industrial counters there. Still some questions around the tech counters and what that'll set to mean then, as of course Hong Kong has decided to put away some of the issues that they've had and perhaps open that economy up a little bit more. In terms of stocks, well, it means that we're seeing Steinhoff go a little bit higher. So too was cash build, which has gone up more than 4%. Steinhoff, as I said, 32% gain today, but it's still only sitting at R2.10 a share on that front. Kumba Iron Ore has gone down, though, one of the big miners to have fallen today. The diversified miner going down 5.2%. Royal Bafokeng Platinum following suit on that platinum mining saga, as that's gone weaker, so that has taken a near 5% fall. So too as Northern Platinum, nearly 4.8% weaker in this lunchtime trading picture. Onto the currencies then, we take a look at that. We're 0.75% weaker against the US dollar on the local front. We're now at 15 Rand and 18 cents. We had even sat at around 15 Rand and 7 cents or so early this morning, with the hopes that we trickle back below 15 Rand. But that's not to be the case at present. Weakness across the other major currencies. The euro, we're weak at 18.39 odd, 20.84 as well against the British pound. Onto the commodities board. Also some strength for the Brent crude oil price there. Still questions around demand as more COVID-19 cases are seen around the world, but China did manage to reduce the number of COVID-19 cases there, and with them being one of the biggest consumers of oil, particularly Brent crude oil, they've managed to pick up demand, so that's gone up around 0.5%. Platinum goes up 1/3%, sits at $1,083 a fine ounce. It's $1,843 an ounce then for gold as well. All right, let's catch up on this market picture. Then Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers joins us now to get to grips with what is happening across the world. Still all about stimulus, Makwe. I thought that the United States had pushed through enough into this market to perhaps get some gains, but clearly not. Janet Yellen still has a lot of work up ahead as she was put in place now as Treasury Secretary out of the United States.
Definitely. And to think that we know today the U.S. Federal Reserve, they have to come with that interest rate decision, their first one for 2021. But all along, markets have been very hopeful, especially when we started with the rolling out of the vaccine and the issue about the U.S. stimulus. But apparently there will be some challenges, for them to get it through that 1.9 trillion. And anyway, Joe Biden is aware of that, and he even said, guys, I'm prepared to negotiate. So yes, there has been a light at the end of the tunnel. well. But hey, it seems as if that light, it might be too far, because already we see some difficulties when it comes to the rollout of the vaccine. We've seen the challenges that the European Union is starting to have with the manufacturers. So as much as some of that was baked into asset prices, reality is that light seems to be very far. So hence people are saying there might be a bubble here. The valuations are too high. Speculation has been very rife. So anything can happen anytime. Yes, we continue to be hopeful, but the chances are markets have gone too high and too fast. So anything could happen anytime from now. With oil prices, as you said, for the fact that we've seen a drawdown when it comes to the inventories, that's a bit of an indication of demand from that side. And as you said, the numbers with COVID-19 in China are a bit slowing down. So also that gives a bit of a hope when it comes to demand. But I think the long and short will be how quick you're able to roll out this vaccine. And even the likes of IMF yesterday, they increased the global economic growth forecast. Unfortunately, when it comes to the South African growth forecast, was unfortunately not increased. So that also is putting a damper on the local stocks. And as we mentioned, the likes of Kumba being one of the biggest fallers of the day. Remember, China said and confirmed that they are going to cut their production still. So as a result, iron ore prices are under pressure, because we know iron ore is one of the ingredients that gets to be used in steel production.
Yeah, let's talk about that growth number then from the IMF, as you made note of. 2.8% for South Africa, perhaps, is the growth level that they're expecting for 2021. That's from a previous expectation of around 3% in October last year. It does mean that it's about a percentage point or so lower than what the South African Reserve Bank even expects us to grow at. So there's really no optimism, no chance of robust growth for South Africa's economy. Where does one look then for growth or even investment in a South African economy that clearly is still not going to jump out of the pandemic with the lights out?
You know, our retailers have been doing very well. Our property company is not too bad as well. And depending how the whole thing will pan out, because as much as they might have downgraded us, if the world economy maybe starts picking up, then we expect, most of the minerals to start doing well, where PGM should do okay. Then you can look at that as well. But for South Africa to get out of these hoods, all these structural reforms that we've been talking about have to be implemented now, And the question is no longer when are they going to be implemented, is the speed that we're going to have to implement that. And also all the money that has been allocated to be spent on issues, it's no longer a question of spending that money, but it's a question of the speed to spend that money, because there's a huge opportunity cost when we don't do that. So yes, back home, our economy needs that structural reforms. But when it comes to the markets, there will continue to be opportunities depending where the world market goes. Because most of our counters, take what happened now, your likes of BHP, Billiton, Anglo-American, Naspers, and Richmond. I mean, those four counters, they account for almost more than 40% of the value of our market. So depending what happens with the results that we're expecting from the likes of Apple, Tesla, and Facebook today, maybe Naspers might even go up tomorrow or go down, depending on those kind of results that will be released after market close in the US.
Very interesting. You speak of market results, and earlier on you even spoke about our retailers. A furniture retailer who surprisingly did well was Lewis Group there. Is that perhaps a stock to look out for?
Definitely, you check their PE at 9 compared to that one of the general retailer index of 49. So it's not demanding. A very good dividend payer at 7.7%, the dividend yield, compared to that one of the index, the general retailer index, that's it of 3.3. But the guys, since the reopening of the economy, since from the end of June, we have seen a lot of people go into their shops. I mean, these are the guys who own your best furniture, your UFO, your Lewis itself, and the best when it comes to the home and electric. So also their collection rate has improved. Their debt book is not looking that bad. If you look at their collection rate, it sits at almost 75. So it shows you that the guys are not doing too badly. So yes, they still have a chance. And it's not only them. We've even seen with the other retailers in other segments. Similarly, our retailers are holding just okay. Whereas because of the LSM that the guys maybe are operating in, it's another question. But we know there's been a very serious reduction when it comes to the footfall, especially when it comes to the likes of your CBD shops and also the likes of the big shopping centers.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. This market picture is one to certainly look out for. Makwe, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it there. Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers, getting to grips then with this market picture. Where to from here? What happens with this local currency? Do we stay around 15 Rand? That's going to be one of the questions as well. We're, of course, headed towards the budget speech then by the Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni. It is scheduled for next month. No confirmed date with regards to that as yet. Also, the State of the Nation address. What happens when it comes to South Africa's funding? What will President Cyril Ramaphosa divulge and share with regards to South Africa's economy as well, and his thoughts moving forward? Will they restructure the bank loan scheme, that financial facility that they've tried to give out to small businesses? Hasn't been taken up quite prodigiously as well, so that could certainly be another aspect to follow.